is Plankton. And for the past 25 years, he has been trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. But what if I tell you that he hasn't been failing? What if I tell you that Plankton isn't even after the secret formula? Let me explain. In the episode Friend or Foe, we learn how Mr. Krabs and Plankton met. In case you didn't know, Mr. Krabs and Plankton used to be friends at one point. They both met on the day they were born. They grew up together and became best friends over time. Both Mr. Krabs and Plankton were bullied by the kids in their class. Mr. Krabs was bullied because he was poor, and Plankton was bullied for being tiny, and for his lack of physical strength. But one day, they decided that they were going to open up a burger joint to try and gain the respect of their schoolmates. They experimented with different ingredients trying to create the perfect patty, and finally, they created the first ever version of the Krabby Patty. But this version of the Krabby Patty didn't taste very good. It tasted so bad that it knocked out Old Man Jenkins. Here's where the story takes a turn. Mr. Krabs and Plankton started blaming each other for this. Both of them have their own different recalling of how that disagreement went about, but both of their stories end the same way. Plankton left their restaurant that day with nothing. The story doesn't end there. Plankton went on to create his own burger from scratch, while Mr. Krabs improved the patty batter he and Plankton made. This led to the creation of the Krusty Krab, the Chum Bucket, and of course the rivalry Plankton and Mr. Krabs have. But this is where things get confusing. In a different episode titled Enemy-in-Law, Plankton starts dating Mr. Krabs' mother because she knows the recipe of the Krabby Patty. It turns out that the secret formula is an old Krabs family recipe, which contradicts what the previous episode says. This isn't the only contradiction to the previous episode. If the Krusty Krab and the Chum Bucket were opened when the episode implies they were, then when did Plankton go to college? Something he claims he has done on many occasions. In the Sponge Out of Water movie, the secret formula disappears. This wouldn't have been an issue if someone actually knew the formula, but SpongeBob doesn't know the secret formula. Neither does Mr. Krabs, and neither does anyone. It seems that no one knows what this formula actually is. But luckily for us, we do get a glimpse of the formula in an episode, but it's all gibberish. All this evidence points to one conclusion. What if the secret formula isn't real? What if the day Mr. Krabs and Plankton had that fight, something else happened? Something which didn't end the way we all think it does. As you know, Plankton fails to get the formula on purpose. But what actual purpose does this serve? Why would he do this? And how could each attempt to steal it not have been a failure? Have you ever wanted to taste a Krabby Patty? Most of you would probably say yes, but why? It's just a normal burger. There are so many other foods in SpongeBob that are so unique. Why would you want to taste a burger from all these foods? I'll tell you why. Because the Krabby Patty isn't a normal burger. Something makes it different from all the other burgers. Something secret. I believe that the day Plankton and Mr. Krabs fought, something else went down. They realized that if they wanted to truly be rich and powerful, they couldn't do it with a simple burger. So, they created a scheme. When the Krusty Krab opened, Plankton would try to steal a Krabby Patty because, with the help of this overpriced burger, he could somehow rule the world, which doesn't make sense when you say it aloud. Anyway, Plankton never tries to steal the formula stealthily, as a normal robber would. He instead makes sure everyone knows he's there, and when the customer sees someone go to these lengths just to steal a burger, they would automatically think it's worth more than what they're paying. Hence, they would buy more of them. Mr. Krabs also seems to be helping Plankton with this. He uses all these advanced security systems, which not even a bank would have to stop Plankton, which only attract more eyes towards him. This would make sense on why the origin of the Krabby Patty is not consistent, because both stories are made up. This also explains other stuff that doesn't seem to have an explanation. For example, each time Plankton gets the upper hand, he always ends up losing stupidly, such as in this scene.
Choke on that, you big...
If he ever got the formula, he would have to prove that he could rule the world with it, something the fish were led to believe. Since this is not possible, Plankton can never get the formula, which is why he always loses even in instances he could easily win in. But what about the SpongeBob movie? Plankton got the formula in it, and he did end up ruling Bikini Bottom. This is true, but the formula itself didn't have much to do with it. His bucket hats did most of the work, and if what I said so far is true, then there's no reason why this couldn't have been staged by Mr. Krabs and Plankton. Also, did you notice that Plankton never faces any consequences for trying to steal the formula? Which just doesn't make sense unless he's working with Mr. Krabs. What I said so far would inherently mean that Mr. Krabs and Plankton are still friends. And that's true. They are still friends, even though they don't appear to be for the most part. In the episode, Welcome to the Chum Bucket, we find out that every Thursday for the past 15 years, Mr. Krabs and Plankton have been playing cards together, which proves they're still friends. Their friendship is also seen in other episodes, like Best Frenemies. We see that both of them have a good relationship, and aren't actually the rivals we thought they were. If what I'm saying is true, it would also explain how Plankton's still in business. Plankton's schemes involve using a large amount of tech, which, as you'd expect, isn't free. As we know, Plankton doesn't make money from his restaurant. So, from where is he getting the funds to build all these robots and machines? The answer to that would of course be from his partner. In a few episodes, we also see that Krabby Patties are frozen. If you think about it, we never actually see SpongeBob making the patties. They always seem readily made, which they are. This would imply that Mr. Krabs purchases Krabby Patties from somewhere else and keeps them in his freezer. That proves a lot, but there's still one thing that doesn't make sense. Possibly the most important thing. Why in the world would Plankton agree to this plan? Mr. Krabs clearly got the better part of the deal, and Plankton is regularly seen to be living a sad life. So why'd he do it? As I said earlier, Plankton's lack of physical power would later consume him, just as greed consumed Mr. Krabs, which is why he always dreams of ruling the world, even though he knows he can't. The closest to being powerful he has ever been is while stealing the formula. Just look at this scene and see how people describe him.
Some say he crawled out from the lowest trench in the ocean.
He's the saltiest of all the sea dogs.
He's the most hated creature in Bikini Bottom.
So, stealing the formula makes Plankton feel powerful. But still, the power he feels at that moment doesn't last long. He might feel feared, but he's not. Instead, he's the most hated person in Bikini Bottom. The only person that tolerates him is his wife, which he had to build himself. So, really, although each attempt to steal the Krabby Patty formula has been a success in their scheme, Plankton is getting nothing out of it. Quitting wouldn't solve this problem, because while Mr. Krabs is now a rich and respected business owner, Plankton is, and always will be, the tiniest and most hated person in Bikini Bottom. Stopping now wouldn't change that.